everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. Welcome to Open. Coming up on today's show, we'll hear from the representative of an organization that is helping others cope with financial crisis. And you don't want to miss the tips that he'll have for us on managing money. That's very, very important. Then we'll speak to a Bronx native, a mother, who serves as a children's book author, motivational speaker, and coach. And she has achieved tremendous success in empowering children through her stories. And we'll learn all about her latest work. Plus, we'll be joined by two Bronx natives who will shine a light on an upcoming race that you don't want to miss. And then finally, we'll hear from the writer and author who will take us behind the curtain, behind the scenes. And that's always so very important to get a look at what's going on behind it before you present it. And we're going to know all about her career in the career of music. Yeah, the music industry. So sit back, kick off your shoes, and relax your feet. We're wide open. Here we go. I'm your host, Doc Bob Lee, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Leading things off, our first guest is a spokesman for the Jehovah's Witnesses, and he joins us to share some insight on how Bronx residents can manage their money during times of financial crisis. So please welcome to the show, Lyndon Byam. Welcome.
Thanks.
How are you?
Glad to have you.
All right.
Appreciate the invitation.
Show me the money. People always want to know about the money. That's a big attention getter. First of all, give us a little background on you.
I'm a Bronxite.
Mm-hmm.
I've moved here about 41 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Columbus High School. In fact, my graduation was held right at Lehman. So my first time back on the campus since then. So it's nice to be back home.
All right.
Yeah.
Welcome home.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
So you got into the financial business. How did you climb into this?
Actually, as Jehovah's Witnesses, we have to maintain a lifestyle. We have to live.
Yeah.
So my background is a little bit in finance, but major concern, of course, is our ministry, is our focus. We are doctors, lawyers. We're the banker.
Mm-hmm.
We're also the baker.
Yeah.
On the corner. Yes.
What does it say in the Bible? Does anything in the Bible there about money management?
It actually does. It's interesting that over 3,000 years ago, one of the wealthiest and wisest rulers said these words. He says, wisdom is a protection, just as money is a protection. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves a life its owner. So even he highlighted the fact a person can be wise, can be wealthy, but still be foolish. Yeah. There's an adage that says that, the fool and his money soon depart. But the Bible has always documented principles and guidance to help us to really use money wisely. In fact, one of the pithy sayings in that by this same writer was the fact that it says money can have wings and can fly. So an eagle, you can
fly into your pocket and out of
it flies even faster, because an eagle is known to be swift at most 80 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So use the term of an eagle as reference to how quickly what we seemingly have can evaporate overnight. From financial upheavals, you have situations with government decisions that are made, the markets go up and down. So it does give some really good guidance to help families to cope and to thrive even in this environment here in the Bronx.
But with the high cost of living, how do we make ends meet?
It's all about recognizing that we have to live, so we have to work.
Yeah.
But at the same time is how to use our resources wisely. For many of us, we're bombarded daily with getting things that we don't really need. And it's okay. We enjoy nice things, but then how do we balance that as regards to necessities for the family?
Yeah.
So one adage which was stated is this: it says, even when a person has an abundance, his life does not result from the things he possesses. So it's not how much you have, because many people have lots of things. So that perspective allows a person to really see the focus of what's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Family is very important. And so if the family thrives and the family stays as a cohesive unit, then of course, the less of financial burdens can be had in the family.
How has the Jehovah Witnesses assist those who have experienced economic downturns or have fallen on hard times?
You know, our mindset is always to assist each other and our neighbors. How can we be of help to our neighbors? This philanthropic mindset is not something that is new. It goes all the way back to ancient times. In fact, in 1900 years ago, Jesus said these words. He says, "Practice giving." So that's part of what our mindset is.
Yeah.
It's not about having a big organization which is set up with administrative fees or whatever. Instead, what it is all donations that are given through our website. You can do that. Donate.gw.org is one way. And then even our place of meetings, our kingdom halls, where we have a small box where that can be done. We offer free services to our members and to the congregants. And as well as, interestingly, we have made provisions in some communities where there's need be. We tap into resources that are there through the government agencies, through not-for-profits. Our aim is to help those who are part of the congregation to actually thrive, but also survive, whether through a downturn. I give an example of that, what we had recently with the pandemic. Sure. I mean, we had put together a whole means of feeding many. So we don't have a food pantry, but what we did was through donations that I had, we were able to accumulate them. We could feed tens of thousands of those who were on the congregation. Yeah. Even the neighbors as well, we helped with that.
And, that time has come again, Thanksgiving, people are hungry, people in the country from other places. And
our aim is all to provide.
Yeah.
Not just limited to a specific time, but to constantly make sure that everyone is. And this is a monthly we check to see how everyone is doing to make sure they're all taken care of.
Beautiful. How can an ancient book like the Bible help with money problems and debt?
It's interesting because when people think of the Bible, they think it's a book that's far outside their realm. But here's a good example of how it guides us in this era to manage our funds.
Yeah.
It said this, that if a person wanted to build a tower, you have to first sit down and calculate the cost. What's it going to cost to put this together? And here Jesus made this statement. He says, first you sit down and calculate, can I do this? And then he says, otherwise, if you don't, you look a fool to your neighbors. They'll say, what happened? He couldn't finish the building he's putting together.
Yeah.
Similarly with us, it's about teaching how to use our resources. And especially in areas where people may not have the highest education, how it is they can be trained as a family to set budgets in place, how it is they can utilize the resources of individuals, even within the congregation, to help them to make sure that they're not going outside of the realm. Another thing we focus on is how to, the practical advice, how to build budgets, how to use the funds they have at hand, and more important, take care of their families.
Yeah, because somebody can be making $40,000 a year and somebody else can be making $100,000 a year. But whoever manages that money wisely will come out on top. The guy who's making, or the person making $40,000 a year can come out on top if it's managed properly.
Some billionaires go bankrupt.
Yeah. So how do people get more involved in what you're doing so that we can learn more about financial stability?
Through our website, we do offer access to a lot of information. There's a link if you go to gw.org, and if you go to About Us, then there's a link dealing with family. It also deals with life, and it shows what finance.
Yeah.
And we have all these segments. The question you've asked is detailed, each of them with principles that can be used. The most important thing is it touches on things that are real life that applies to us, even here in the Bronx.
Now the holidays are here.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want to be slighted by, you don't have enough money to buy something for family members or people that you love. So they have something like a little plastic credit card. Mm-hmm. And they go out and they use this credit card all over the place. But wait, what happens after that? It has to be paid off.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? How do you get around that?
One of the things is about contentment. Unfortunately, we live in a world where we're bombarded, where we're told we need to have everything. And so one of the principles, let's say the 3,000 years ago, it made a reference to something that's interesting and it helps us to avoid this debt issue. It says, don't wear yourself out to gain wealth. Stop and show understanding. And he says, when you cast your eyes on it, it's not there.
Yeah.
And so sometimes we have to focus on the fact that if we get ourselves into this position, it affects the family. So that's why we have to pull back and analyze kind of before this. Is this something that is within the realm of the family's resources?
Yeah.
We found that has helped quite a bit of our families. And especially since the family unit is very important to be kept together.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if it falls apart and financial issues can cause family strain. So how can we keep the family from falling apart due to?
Yeah. And you have to weigh the difference because it feels good knowing that you're helping people in your family to be happy for the holidays. But then after the holidays, you got to pay it back.
Yeah, gift giving is always something wonderful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, the thing we don't want to go beyond what we don't have or means.
Right.
And so how do we rein it back in?
So it's all about leveraging.
It's guidance of how to have a mindset.
Yeah.
Allows us to really utilize our resources, our monies that we have. Although they may be limited, but still we should remember number one thing is always to be willing to share with others.
Yeah.
I'm going to share with you quickly that as an organization, our aim is always to help individuals.
Yes.
And sometimes we think it's a lot, but even small deeds mean much more than a big box.
Take baby steps.
Yeah. That'll
lead to where you need to go. Did we miss anything?
Well, there's one thing I thought about was that, we have what is called, it's time to 950 disaster relief committees. Our aim is in event of disasters, how can we help individuals? And there's one in the Bronx. And it's global.
Yeah.
It's all volunteers. It's all done by individuals who are skilled. We have a lot of skilled personnel who volunteer their time and some who are untrained. And they're trained unskilled, who train how to help along with this.
Yeah.
Like when Hurricane Ida came, for example, or Sandy, we actually going to rebuild homes. We pull our resources to do that. And there's no administrative costs because we're all volunteers. So all the funds that are given are utilized for that purpose. Or like in Africa, where we helped out and set up Wi-Fi stations so even communities can benefit with Wi-Fi. So there are different ways in which we've done this to facilitate locally, even here in the Bronx, to benefit everyone.
Beautiful. Where do we go for more information? Because, you're a wealth of information, but we need more.
JW.org.
JW.org.
It has everything you could find. It has links, go about us, news that really facilitates these details. And it's how localized it is. That it's not just a global, but even down locally here into the Bronx, it benefits us.
There you go. Lyndon Byam, spokesperson, Jehovah's Witness.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks.
All right. We'll take a quick break. I've got more open. It's coming your way next.
I remember when the Bronx did not really have a media outlet properly representing the people of the Bronx.
BronxNet provides for the community by being a community where people can be empowered to share their voices.
We are in a really great place technologically. We've got all the resources that we need to be effective.
Whether it's through cameras, storytelling, editing, we have provided those services for 30 years.
BronxNet's mission is to be a voice for the community.
To educate, to inform, and to inspire.
And you can be a part of it. We've built studios for you.
There you go. Welcome back. Hey, our next guest is a mother of three. She has 3 children, and she serves as an inspiration behind her beautiful stories, celebrating culture and language. So she'll share insights into her latest successful book and offer advice to aspiring authors. So please welcome to the show, Luz Mack. Luz, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure being here.
Now you're sitting right there. I think it seems like you're nearby.
Yes, I live by Crotona Park,
Uh-huh.
and I've been living here for the last, I want to say, close to 18 years.
Uh-huh. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do.
Sure. So I started writing over 10 years ago when my daughter was 3 years old.
Mhm.
She was accepted into one of these beautiful private schools, and she started nursery at the young age of 3 years old. When I was picking her up from school one day, she asked me if I could dye her hair blonde. And of course, as a woman, we always want to look pretty and feel accepted. But at 3 years old, I thought being blonde was way too young, maybe a little later.
Uh-huh.
So I started looking at what was happening in around us. Why did my daughter crave to look a certain way that it didn't reflect our family, it didn't reflect her, our community, our heritage? And that's when I started looking at the numbers of how we weren't representing children, not in our educational systems, now outside our educational systems, like movies, media,
Mhm.
or books. So I started to create my own stories for the sake of my children to see themselves reflected on the pages of a book.
Yeah.
But most importantly, for them to see the beauty of their culture, because their skin tone, their hair, the color of the eyes, this is not per chance. This is who
Yeah.
we are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you're from the Dominican Republic, right?
Yes, I was born in Villameja, and I came
Ah.
to the United States when I was like around 6 years old.
Yeah. So how does your daughter view the world now? Now that you
Yeah, it's interesting. My children are half Dominican and half African American, and just trying to look at both our cultures in a very loving and kind way, and try to kind of lead with identity, so they could understand that they could be their genuine selves and represent themselves wherever they go. So I let them lead me and what they feel comfortable doing,
Yeah.
and how they feel comfortable identifying. And as long as I could provide as a mother, like the context of where things originated from in
Yeah.
our family, that I think that's the best I could do as a mom. But there's a lot of times I get it wrong.
Yeah. But within your storytelling, what age do you want to begin to tell students or your youngsters about diversity and inclusiveness and things of that nature?
I think books are honestly the perfect way to get children to see other worlds, because honestly, as they go up in grades and they start learning more about literacy, culture, science, and even history, what I've noticed is that our history is always forgotten. Not only the African American story, the Latino story, the Asian story, the list goes on. We cannot see inclusion if we keep leaving our stories out of it. And I always welcome parents. If you want your children to know about who they are, start with your own family story. Start with like what made you the person you are. What made you like even something as simple as your favorite dish?
Yeah.
Where did this dish come from? There's things happen for a reason, and the kids need to learn that. Just how when we go to college and we go to school, we learn about all these facts and how they shape our society. They need to know about the history of their richness,
Yeah.
because if we don't do it, they're not, unfortunately, they have to wait in some instances to go to college to learn about Latino stories or Latino heritage or African American heritage. So those stories are left out.
Luz, tell us about the secret of the plátano.
Oh my God. So in the pandemic, I had a dream with my grandmother.
Uh-huh.
And obviously that was a very trying time in my life. My father had COVID. He's a Vietnam vet, and he was in the Veterans Hospital. I had COVID, and I was working at Weill Cornell at the time. And I just really felt at that time it was not only a time of like a lot of uncertainty, but like we were very scared. We didn't know what was going to happen. I remember before going to sleep, I was asking my husband, what's going to happen like to us? Like, are we going to survive this thing? I mean, when we were listening to the news, it was very scary, scary times. That night I went to sleep and I dreamt I was in a field of plátanos, like a
Wow.
beautiful vegetation. And I dreamt of my grandmother who just asked me to follow her. And we spent the whole night dancing. And it was just like a calm, peaceful feeling to be with someone that's no longer here, to bring peace and love in such a the only way they know how to do, someone
Yeah.
that you love and know is no longer here on earth. So I woke up the next day just feeling assurance, and I wrote that moment in time in my life and created a children's book out of it.
Beautiful. And it was reaching number one. It reached number one on Amazon Children's Central and South America books, right?
It did, and it actually won an award recently this year, 2023. How can I forget? It's
Yeah.
just because 2024 is around the corner.
I know. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
So wait a minute. And then you have some dealings with Disney? Explain that.
I was really hired to be part of the project of Encanto, the movie that came out.
Yeah.
Disney hired a team of writers, Latino authors, to write parts of the movie and adapt it to what we call like early set books. And these books were, once they were out, they were available in levels 1, 2, 3. As you could tell, it was divided by literacy level and grade level. So I wrote a level 2 for children that happened to be like around like, not in first grade, but second grade, starting to read more on their own independently. So that was something very exciting. Not only did I get to see the script of Encanto before the movie was out, but I got to share that moment with my family once the movie was out. Like, hey, your mommy was there. Like she was a part of this. This is like a big deal.
Yeah.
Although right now I don't think I'm very cool. So.
But listen, you have some behind the scenes teachings, right? Tell us about that.
Yeah, right now, one of my biggest accolades, and I'm going to shout him out. His name is Tony Plata. I think one of the Bronx principals was on BronxNet recently, was sharing his work. I was able to work with Tony. He self-published his own book. It's called Weekend with Papi. It's out now. But I was able to teach him some of my like inside hacks on how to create your own story. Because I believe that although I'm very excited that I was able to use our stories for my family and made them into beautiful stories, I feel like that's not the goal. The goal is to teach more individuals that come from our communities to understand that there's power in telling your story, economic opportunities also when they do say their stories. And I wish that I could teach the next generation of storytellers that start right here in our Bronx public schools.
Well, you're doing it. What inspired you to start mentoring upcoming book authors?
Well, the fact that when I saw the data shows that, and I'm going to say some really, it could be triggering for some, but it's the truth. It's very alarming. 6% of accepted manuscripts come from Latino communities. And I believe for African American community is not even a full 10%. So for Latinos it's different. And I'm just going to talk about being Latino a little differently because there's 22 countries that make up the Latino communities. We're talking about Mexico, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. You know, I even throw Haiti in there because I don't care what people say. Haiti is very Latino as well in many communities. But that means 1% out of that 6% makes up one community if you think about it. So if we're only accepting 6% of manuscripts to cover all of Latino America, all of Dominicans, Puerto Rican, Cubans, Mexicans, New Guinea, like the list goes on. Imagine how many don't have an opportunity to tell their authentic stories. So once I knew that data, I noticed in media, the numbers are even lower. It's not a coincidence that Encanto was such a big hit, but it was one of its first of its kind where we were showing Colombian culture. it's not a secret that Coco was a big hit, you know? So I started writing, how about my story? How about the story that is mixed? The story that happens to be Latino and African American. I mean, it's coming. I think the more we make individuals aware about the need of telling our stories from our authentic voices, we can make a big difference. And I want children to know that their stories matter. And they could start as simple as just telling their parents how their day was, writing it down, putting some pictures on it. That's how my kids started storytelling.
Yeah. It's like a big mix of things that have come together, and you're bringing it to light. It's like a nice bowl of sancocho.
Ocho, exacto. Pásame el aguacate y estamos completos.
There you go. And you even included the podcast. Tell us about that.
The podcast, oh my God. So I wish I could be like you, Dr. Lee. It's so hard doing a podcast. My hats are off to people. I'm happy that I've seen a lot of trailblazers in the podcaster world, including Latino podcasters, show Latino individuals, and not only Latino individuals, African American individuals, a lot of marginalized communities, that we are the leading voice in this world. So we can share our stories and we can inspire others. So when I was doing podcasting, I wanted to share the individuals, so like interesting folks that I was meeting through my authorship. And I wanted everyone to have access to that. They were supposed to leave a little bit about themselves that people didn't know when they think about these careers. Like, what are some of the challenges? Some of the things you wish you knew before you jump into it, all the way from illustrators, designers, authors like myself, documentarians, and even librarians. Like, as something as simple as a librarian, I wish like everyday people understand that some of us, even authors and documentarians, we got a lot of our inspirations from librarians.
Yeah. Listen, thank you for coming on and sharing all of this wonderful bowl of sancocho with us. So you got to come back and share more, okay? You can use a piece of this for your podcast, but give us some information as where we can find more about what you're doing. Social media, website.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram, Luz Mack Official. You can find me on Facebook, Luz Mack Official, as well as my website, luzmack.com. What I'm working on now is some other stories, and just be ready. It's going to be having what makes me me, and how I can speak to my authentic voice, and that is the blend of Dominican culture and African American culture, and ready for laughs and family togetherness.
We love you. Thank you for joining us. Luz M. Mack, latest book, The Secret of the Plátano. And the next one is going to come out. It's going to be called Sancocho.
That's my goal. That's my goal.
We'll take a break. There you go. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next, right here on Open. And welcome back up to Doc Bob Lee from 107.5 WVLS. Thank you for chilling and checking it out. Thank you for letting us share in your space and time. Our next guests are both from the Bronx. The Bronx natives. One is the founder and CEO of Cow NYC, and the other is the co-founder of Race the Bronx. And they join us to speak about their upcoming event, running of the Bulls 5K race, and so much more. So please welcome to the show, Haram Signh and Sol Rivera. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
We were off mic and we were talking about food. I think the lady before us got us all hooked up.
Yeah.
We were talking about sancocho and plátanos and all that stuff. So we're all hungry. And you even said you're going to go home and make some.
I might. I just might.
Now tell us about how you guys came together and what this thing is all about.
Well, I have done a few events now with the brand, just reaching out to the community. And so for this, it was a personal reason. Like,
remind us of that brand.
The brand is Cow NYC.
There you go.
We're based out of the Bronx.
Okay.
And then we've done a few events. We've done book bag giveaways, food drives, Buckets for the Bronx, which is a free basketball tournament for high school kids.
Yeah.
Annual block party at the Bronx Brewery. So those were all for the community. But this one had a personal agenda. It's just I have two daughters. One's going to be 2. One's going on 9. I'm about to have a third kid. And I'm a bit of a couch potato. So
you've been busy.
Yeah. But to keep up with them, like my daughter's playing soccer now, I got to run around. Like I get winded. I'm like, I got to get active. So I was like, I want to do something. So I thought of Running of the Bulls, but it was this whole concept. And then I told a friend, my friend Grace, and she was running for the past year and a half. She's really gotten into it. And she's like, I know exactly who you should talk to. And she hooked me up with Alex and Sol.
I don't know how we're going to do it. If she's cooking that type of food and you have the food in your culture, we're going to get by this. We're going to eat it and then relax and then run it off, right?
Carb loading.
So what part do you play?
So I'm a co-founder of Race the Bronx. I started it with my business partner, Alex Felicier, who's also a Bronx native. We met at a race, and then a mutual friend of ours had told me that he was interested in putting together races.
Is that him?
That's him. That's him. So a mutual friend of ours told me that he was interested in putting together races after I had mentioned it. And I showed up to one of his races, 718 Run. They run out of the Kingsbridge Social Club in Kingsbridge. And we started talking about it, and one thing led to another, and next thing you know, we're putting together a company called Race the Bronx.
That's usually how it happens. And look, who's this crew right here that have their hands in the air? Go back one more clip. One more clip.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So one of our initiatives of Race the Bronx is to do kids events throughout the year.
That's good.
So that's our first kids event that we did. It's called Youth in Movement.
What park was that?
That was at Van Cortlandt Park.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we try to spread it around to different parks of the Bronx. And that's what we do with our races as well. Our initiative was to showcase the community of the Bronx and how beautiful the Bronx is, and to create races and bring running to our community, and to let people know that, we're so much more than what they might hear on the news or what they might see in the movies, and just showcase how beautiful the Bronx is through movement.
Anything coming up we should be a part of? I have some new sneakers.
It's the Running of the Bulls. We're holding it in Van Cortlandt Park.
Wait, you have the Running of the Bulls coming up?
Yeah, that's the event.
With a real bull?
I got a friend who dressing up in an inflatable costume.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, I'll pay your entry fee. Yeah. He said he'll do it. Yeah. So yeah, we have that coming up. Excited. And then I've been working on the creative side, like, the flyers and the designs for the t-shirt, and Alex and Sol have just done everything else. Like, they got the permit, like stuff I would think is like, oh man, how do I do that?
Yeah.
Right off the bat, they knew what to do, how to do it, and they just did a great job doing it.
Well, when you can put sancocho together, you can put a bunch of other things together. You got to put all the different
That's
stuff.
how we do.
All the ingredients.
We've been talking about it for a while. So what's the date on this?
So it's December 10th.
December 10th.
December 10th, Running of the Bulls 5K taking place at Van Cortlandt Park. We're going to be running the trails. So it's a bit of a technical race, but it is open to all paces, all faces. Everyone can sign up and join.
Yeah. Is this one of the qualifying runs for
No.
the New York City Marathon?
No.
Because, you have to do a number of 5Ks.
No, this is brand new.
no.
We're just starting off.
Different.
Yeah.
No. This is different. We're separate. We're just a small, mom and pop shop here in the Bronx.
That's all right. Small mom and pop shops get bigger and bigger and bigger.
That's the goal.
Yeah. I like running. You run through wooded area and stuff like that. I love trails and things like
yeah,
that.
so this specific race will be going through the trails of Van Cortlandt Park.
Yes,
so you'll be
yes.
going through the woods and everything. So it
I
should be a
like
very
that,
fun race.
And one of our executive directors, Max Nabi, he loves stuff like that too. Especially when he can crawl in the dirt. He does that. What do you call that?
Tough mudder.
Oh,
right?
yes, the OCR races. I
Yeah,
think
he does all
their
that
obstacle
stuff. You
course
gotta
racing.
get in the water. You got to run through the mud. And you got to get up and start running and then rowing and all
something.
that.
Yeah, there won't be none of that. There won't be none of that.
Yeah, just running.
He loves that kind
just
of stuff.
running, just running. These are all family-oriented races as well. So.
Yeah, I think my mom's doing it. So
She is?
Yeah. So,
Oh, good.
and she's like,
All right, so Tim, what time do you start?
We start at
9?
9 a.m.
9
early,
a.m.
yeah.
Everybody just gets together at 9 a.m. and then the race probably starts up
we're
about
gonna-
10.
Just a
something
few
like that.
minutes later. So everyone should get there before 9 a.m. to pick up their bibs for the races.
We also
It is
have
a timed.
shirts.
We have shirts for everyone.
Van Cortlandt?
Van Cortlandt Park.
Yeah.
Okay, what part? Where are you going to?
By the tortoise and hare statue, like
Oh,
people know
okay.
where it is, right?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
big,
yeah.
Okay.
right?
So we're going to put that down on our calendars, December 10th at 9 in the morning.
Yeah, it's a
By the-
Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have that. Anything coming before that?
There's
we should
nothing
know
before
about?
that. That's actually our last race of the year.
How do you want people to prepare for this? What do you want them to do?
I mean, just sign up to start.
Yeah, sign up to
Sign up to start and then put your sneakers on and get running. Right?
Is there a pasta eating thing the night before? Or something?
No, but feel free to, carve it on your own.
Or you get together with the brewery and say, hey, we want to do something the night before, and then
There you
get up.
go.
Well, not the night before. Do it like during the day or something, so
Yeah,
they can
I'm
get some
thinking
sleep
about
and get up.
There you go.
Just some things, to think about.
Yeah, just build a base, start
Mhm.
getting out there and running 1 mile, 2 miles, and work your way up. Run a few times out of the week to
Yeah.
prepare.
Well,
That's
I
what
I may just try it.
You should try it.
The last time I ran, there was a guy named Roscoe C. Brown. He's one of the black pilots,
Mhm.
and he does something uptown all the time, but he passed away, of course. And I usually just go and do the introduction in the beginning of the race and welcome everybody and stuff like that and send them off. But I got ready to go back to my car. I said, "Hey, you running?" And I said, "Nah, I've been up all night." He said, "Come on, it'll wake you up. You have sneakers?" And I said, "I couldn't lie. I have my gym bag." And I said, "Yeah, I got some in the car." But I was hoping he said, "All right, well, all right, maybe next time." But he said, "All right, come on, put them on." I put them on and I tried to run this. I used to box. So I used to run 5 miles a day, just to prepare. So I was running and I was with this 75-year-old lady. And I could not stop if I wanted to because I said, no, if she can do it, I can do it. And I'm like going, and I'm huffing and puffing until I got all the way through the race. But I was so sore for like 3 and 4 days. But I got the medal and everything. And it felt really, really, really good. But, in order to get into a race like that, this is probably a little different. But in order to get in, you have to prepare before you get there. You just can't run a race if you hadn't been running.
Yeah.
Sure.
We
But this is
definitely,
more fun. Though,
this is a more fun race, but we
Yes,
definitely
chill.
encourage everyone to get some base miles in. Don't just, go out there cold turkey.
Yeah.
That's right. Otherwise, it'll be dark by the time you get to the finish line. I've seen it at New York City Marathon.
Yes, at the
you
New
get
York
the
City
last
Marathon.
runs.
Yes.
But thank you guys for all that you're doing. I know people are gonna come and want to be a part of it, and the camaraderie of it all to become a part of something, moving together in the same, like you guys came together. People are gonna look forward to coming together.
There was such a big running community. Like after I looked up, and I'm like, oh, there's this crew, there's this crew. These people run on Tuesday. These people run on a Thursday. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
I never knew that before.
So how are you going to reach out to the rest of them? Some of them are going to see this. They're going to say, hey, we'll get ready for it.
Yeah, so we do a lot of promotion on our Instagram on Race the Bronx Instagram. We also have a website, which is racethebronx.com. And we do send out newsletters for everyone else who has previously signed up for some of our races and stuff like that. So we always send a little reminder.
Yeah.
So.
And then you were going to send them to your website or social media, right? Which is?
Mine is cashcownyc.com.
And all that information is right there.
Yeah.
How they can sign up and be a part of it.
For the race itself, they should go to racethebronx.com.
So go to Race the Bronx, and if you can find us on Instagram, Race the Bronx, and there's a link for sign up there. You'll see our flyer. It's one of our latest posts on Instagram. Or you could just go to the website, which is racethebronx.com, and then there'll be a link to sign up on there.
And after they finish the race, it's going to be a potluck thing of food from your culture and your culture and different cultures. That's something down the line that we can plan.
There'll be some after race, some post race snacks.
This guy, he talks about too much food. What's he hungry? But that's great. Give me the website one more time, yours and yours.
It's cashcownyc.com.
And racethebronx.com.
Well, thank you guys so much for joining us, and good luck
Okay.
with everything.
Thank you very much for having us.
Love you guys. Come back again.
Definitely.
All right, we'll take a break. I've got more right here on Open. You're at the place to be with me, the Doc, Bob Lee.
30 years of BronxNet, 4 years of Modern Odyssey. Broadcasting stories that may inspire you, untold or underreported stories. BronxNet, your story is heard. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching Modern Odyssey on BronxNet.
And welcome back once again of the Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS. You are watching Open. Thank you for joining us. Our last guest is the professor emeritus and former chair of American Studies Media Communications at State University of New York at Old Westbury. He is a writer and author, and he joins us to speak about his book, Can't Touch This. Sounds like my cousin, MC Hammer. He has a memoir of Disillusioned Music Executive and so much more. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Wayne Edwards. Doc, welcome.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob Lee. Welcome to be a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Can't touch this. Dun, 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 dun. Were you thinking about that when you wrote that book?
Actually, the title comes from the fact that while I was vice president of Black Music A&R at Capitol Records, I signed MC Hammer.
All right.
To the label, yeah. So that was the inspiration for the title of the book.
You were responsible for signing him?
Yes, indeed.
Oh, wow. All right. I got to tell him that, hey, guess who I met up with? There you go. Look at that.
There he is.
Yeah. His last name is Burrell. Yeah.
Yep. And,
I didn't know if I should throw that out there, but everybody knows Burrell. Can't touch this.
Yep.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that's my cousin.
Okay.
So you've been in the educational business for a long time. How'd you get involved, and what's it all about? Tell us how you got from there to here.
So from growing up, my mother in particular always said, that you have to give back, you have to help out. So education was something that was just in my blood, something I wanted to do, and something I always wanted to do. But then, life happens, and I took a little detour, so to speak, into the recording industry. And when I finished up with that, I decided, I want to get back to what I really like to do, which is educating young folks. And was fortunate enough to be offered a position at my alma mater, Hunter College. So I started teaching media studies there, and then ended up at SUNY Old Westbury.
Yeah. Didn't you host also New York Institute of Technology on that campus?
We did.
Yeah.
We did for a long time. They used some of our residence halls on campus. So that was a good relationship, and it ended a few years ago. But yeah, for a long time,
wow,
it was a good partnership.
I didn't know it ended. I used to. I was going to attend that, but I did the one in the city by Columbus Circle, New York Institute of Technology. That's my alma mater.
Yeah, great school.
Yeah, yeah. You also had a background, of course, as we know, in the music industry. Tell us how more about what happened from there and what led you into that transition from music into full-time writing.
So, I was writing. I wanted to be a journalist, so I was writing after I finished college, and did a lot of entertainment writing, and met folks at different record companies, and was blessed to meet a publicist at CBS Records. I'll give her a shout out, Sandra DaCosta.
Yes.
Yeah, you know Sandra, yes.
From the Bullion Foundation, yeah.
Oh, man, yeah, she's fantastic. And she called me one day and said, listen, the Black Music Marketing Division has a new position, staff writer. Would you be interested in checking it out? So I said, oh, yeah. So I went through the process of interviewing and was offered the job. And frankly, it changed my life. Yeah. Because now all of a sudden, I had a corporate account. I'm traveling a lot. I'm a native Bronxite. So this gave me an opportunity to see much more beyond what I knew of the Bronx and New York City. So now I'm traveling globally, and that was terrific. And, it's like being an athlete. You used to box. So, at a certain age, your body says, I think we're done with this. And for me, it was, the idea of hanging out in the clubs and staying up all night long and, doing all that. I sort of aged out of it. Yeah. And so at a certain point said, let me get back to what I do, which was educating folks.
Yeah, you kind of look around and say, I don't know if this is me anymore. Wait a minute.
And you know what else? Honestly, it's I had a son. I got married. I had a son. And all of a sudden, when I had a child at home, being out till 2, 3, 4 in the morning.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't as appealing as it used to be.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I know the feeling. I know what it's all about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So now you have this is your first book, right?
It's the first book. I'm actually working on the second one now, but this is the first one. Yes.
Give us a quick synopsis of what's in that book.
So the book, at the core of it, of course, is my journey as a Black music executive. But what the book looks at is sort of twofold. One, it puts a spotlight on Black music marketing. When I entered the industry in the late 70s, the industry was changing. Technology was changing it. The industry was going flat. But Black music marketing, particularly at CBS Records, was doing great. And the people involved, LeBaron Taylor, Sandra DaCosta, so many others, never got the recognition that they deserved for the work they were doing. So one aspect of the book is to shine a spotlight on Black music marketing, and also to talk about the disparities in resources allocated to Black artists and Black music divisions. So I wanted to shine a light on things that, as many books as I've read about the music industry, none of them ever touched on these topics.
Yeah. So
I thought it was time.
That's good. A lot of people ask me, what's the difference between music of yesteryear and today? And, I go back to listening to my mother's music, my older sister's music, and to the music I grew up with, and to the music that's happening now. In your vision, how do you feel that the music business and music has changed?
Well, the first thing, the music business has changed tremendously. I mean, I left it officially in about 92, and since then, it's completely different. I mean, I couldn't tell you how it operates now. I couldn't tell you how artists get exposed. And I mean, I know the music platforms and all of that, the social media platforms, but how do you get on there? That's for this generation to talk about. So very different than what it was And I think, I think it gives artists opportunities that weren't there before, because now you don't need a major label deal. You don't need a CBS Records or Warner Brothers Records or whatever. You can, finesse those social media sites and do quite well for yourself. I'll give you one quick example. There's an artist who I discovered on social. I didn't discover her. I found her music on social media. An artist named Sabrina Claudio, who I think is fantastic, but as far as I know, never had a major record deal. And not too long ago, she headlined at Radio City Music Hall.
Yeah, but is it about a major record deal now, or we're doing something else here?
I think we're doing something else. I think there are so many alternatives that social media has presented that artists say, you know what, if I get the major record deal, fine. But if I don't, I can market myself. I can post my music myself. I can put it out there. And of course, we know technology makes it easy to make music in your home if that's what you have to do.
And look at Taylor
Swift.
Think
there are lots of
look at people like Taylor Swift. I mean, wow. Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with how many people are following you and how many likes you have and all of this stuff. Yeah. It's a whole nother world right now.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? I'll tell you a funny story quickly. I was at an event with students, from SUNY Old Westbury, and we're talking, and one of them said, well, can I get your contact information? So I said, sure. I said, let me give you my card.
You took out they said, no, look,
like,
yeah, just. I know it.
So she looked at me like, cards? You still use cards?
Some of them still ask for it, but they have a whole nother means of how to get this across. Say, no, just scan this. Here. Yeah. So, but the good old days, you've been on tour with lots of great people. Talk about it.
Yeah. I've been out on tour with Marvin Gaye, Earth, Wind and Fire. I guess for me, the pinnacle of it all was going to Africa with Michael Jackson. He wasn't performing.
Yeah.
It was just, he was offered an opportunity to go. So we went to Africa together. I went as his personal publicist. And that was a fantastic opportunity and an opportunity for me to be around someone with that level of money and clout and power and fame. It was like a one-of-a-kind opportunity, and I got a sense to see how he rolled and, what the power of money can do.
Yeah, and he's really a beautiful person, despite what a lot of other people think, meeting him in person is something different. I mean, of course, we meet a lot of people in the business, and they're not all nice, but he was a beautiful person. I met him along with Frankie Crocker. We were doing the Jackson family tour. Met him before that too with Hal Jackson when Michael Jackson was he was in the Wiz and just come up to the radio station. But during the Jackson family tour, it was myself and Frankie Crocker, and the whole family came around the table, and we had the opportunity to interview them. And I thought they were so nice and pleasant and down to earth. A lot of makeup.
Down to earth. Yeah, well, but very, very down to earth. And what people don't know about him is, that he was very philanthropic. So he gave money to lots of Black-rooted organizations, but he didn't want it publicized.
Right.
He just felt like, people know everybody will come after him, which they were doing anyway.
Yeah.
But he very quietly did a lot for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's a good person. Good family.
Mm-hmm.
So now you can find your book in Barnes & Noble, Amazon.
Barnes & Noble,
It's
Amazon.
everywhere.
It's everywhere.
That's good. That's good.
Can't touch this. Memoir of a Disillusioned Music Executive.
Yeah. You have the baggy pants on right about now? Now, there you go. Go ahead, cuz. Hey, listen, I know you mentioned that you have something that's going to follow this. What, do you have a name and everything for it?
My working title is a novel. So my working title is The Melrose Project. And it's about a young Black male coming out of Melrose Projects in the Bronx.
Yeah.
And, you know, how that impacts him in his life and some struggles that he has with identity in the Black community and in the white community. So it should be really interesting. I think people will enjoy it. But it's different for me because this is a straight up novel. Can't Touch This was a memoir.
Yeah,
so
beautiful.
So I get to be a little more creative with this one.
Beautiful. And you're a great person to give a world of advice because you have such great wisdom. What would you tell people looking to get into this business of ours? I'm talking about entertainment.
Well, I think you have to be committed. And let's say from a musician standpoint, you have to be honest with yourself about your skill level. Okay. So you don't want to pursue something that maybe you're not quite qualified for. So I would say that what you want to do is get some advice along the way, talk to people in the know, find out what you don't know.
Yeah.
So that you can get better at your craft, because at the end of the day, whether it's major record deals or whether it's now, you know, the indie using social media platforms, you still have to have the talent.
Yeah, of course.
To rise above. So you want to make sure that your talent is secure and solid.
Yeah.
So that would be the first thing I would say.
If you don't have that talent, it will show when you come out and you present yourself on stage.
You can't hide from the truth, you know.
Now, just a little while ago, we had a group shot. I know we flashed a lot of pictures across the across the screen. But can you put that group shot back up, guys? Who are the people in this picture here?
Oh, wow. So let's see. As I'm looking at it,
we got 30 seconds. 30 seconds.
Second from the left, Herbie Hancock, one of the most amazing jazz pianists to walk the face of the earth. Myself, I'm the tall guy there. Next to myself is Dr. George Butler, who was jazz A&R for CBS Records. And all the way to the left, as I look at that, is Sidney. Oh, Lord, I'm forgetting Sidney's last name, but he had several industry magazines, devoted to Black music. So, yeah, that's sort of the CBS crew with Herbie Hancock. Yep.
There you go. All right, website, where can we go for more information?
Go to WayneEdwardsAuthor.com. That's all one word, WayneEdwardsAuthor.com. You can see information about the current book, and in a little while, I'll start posting some excerpts from the new book.
All right. Can't Touch This, memoir of a disillusioned music executive, Dr. Wayne Edwards, author. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Wayne.
All right. Thank you for having me. Great meeting you, too.
Nice meeting you, too. We'll be in touch, okay?
All right. You got it. Thank you.
All right. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank our guests. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for following us. For continued coverage, you can check this out right here. Go to bronxnet.org. And you can also join our hosts, Kip and Arlene, Darren Jaime, and Rena Valentine for new episodes of Open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday. For all of us here at Bronxnet, have a great and enjoyable day. And always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you. What you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice. Let your choice control the chooser. Of the Dr. Bob Lee. And I'll see you over 107.5 WVLS. I love you all. Peace.